I'm currently working as an Atlassian architect with Ingenico Group in Hoofddorp. It's a small town near Amsterdam, and I'm living in Amsterdam for almost last 6 years. Originally, I'm from India, and I've been working with Atlassian tools for almost 10 years now, and last 5 years as a consultant and an architect. And this year also at the summit, I had the chance to speak. So I'm going to be discussing the currently hot and popular topics in Atlassian community. Hot topics is what is new, and popular is what I feel is not many people actually know in the Atlassian community, because I'm pretty active in the online community and I see a certain set of patterns of questions coming up again and again. So I'm going to be discussing some of those things as well. So we're going to be discussing next-gen projects. This is one of the biggest updates on the Atlassian cloud, actually, next-gen projects. This is something which Atlassian started working on, I guess, after they received a lot of feedback from people that Jira is a bit hard to start getting started with, because you need to have a project, you need to have certain components, version schemes. So if you are, let's say, a salesperson or a marketing person, you're not a software development team, you just want to create a ticket. But all the way you have to go to the Jira administrator, get a project and all that. So they came up with this concept of next-gen project. This is somewhat similar to Trello, which is of course part of Atlassian now. But it is really cool, the features that it offers. It is very easy to get started with. The configuration is isolated, that is, it is not shared, because the underlying model of Jira is shared objects. So you have workflows, you have schemes, you have field configurations that are shared across projects. But in case of next-gen projects, it is isolated. It is for the project only. The configuration is not shared. Another cool thing is roadmaps. This is a really nice thing. Right now they only have it on the cloud. Too bad. I would love to have it on the server soon. This is basically, you can plan your work, you can have your epics, stories. It is something similar to Portfolio, but it is super lightweight. Portfolio is like, I sometimes feel that Atlassian has thrown the whole kitchen sink at the user. It's everything. And it is very hard to train users in it. You know, I've had a very hard time telling people, okay, how the release dates are automatically calculated, how the scheduling is happening automatically, how you are getting multiple Scrum boards in the Scrum view, and everything is so much complex. Sometimes users want just the ability to drag and drop the due dates and have the whole hierarchy in front of them, actually. Portfolio is very good, but it is a bit heavy, actually, if you just are a very simple user, not a power user, which most of the product owners are not, actually. Feature toggle. So this is another really cool feature. Don't worry, I'm going to demo it at the end, these things on the Atlassian cloud as well. So you have, this thing is feature toggle. So instead of running to your Jira administrators, because if in next-gen project, if you're the project owner, you can do pretty much everything in the project. So you can toggle features. That is, if you want estimations or not, if you want backlog feature or not. So currently in Jira server view, if you have a Scrum board, you cannot change it to Kanban. You need to create another board. But with this feature toggle, you can just click on sprints off, backlog off, and it will become a Kanban board. So I'm going to show that as well. And it has other features as well, like roadmap and other stuff. Jira Ops, this was another one of the biggest announcements at the Atlassian Summit, actually. So most of you would know Atlassian has acquired Ops Genie, and they have also launched Jira Ops, which integrates very well with Ops Genie. And with Jira Ops, you can streamline your incident management flow, actually. So if there is an incident, you can actually, I'm also going to show that in the demo, you can create a project, you can create an incident in that project and have all the important tools like Slack, status page, your Ops Genie integrated on that incident. So you have one point where you can see everything, actually. You're not running after different mail chains. The customers are informed via status page. The team is also in the loop, because you can start a Slack channel there and then from the incident only. But right now it is also available on the cloud. So these first two things are only available at the cloud instance of Jira as of now. So then this is something which is a not so happy customer with all new features. Like we know, sometimes there are certain things which customers do not like, and they give the feedback, and then slowly these things are incorporated, actually. This was one of the questions on the Atlassian community. So right now, if you create a next-gen project on cloud, you cannot take a server export. You cannot restore it on server, because servers do not support next-gen projects. So what you have to do, if you have a next-gen project on cloud, you have to migrate the issues to a classic project, then take a cloud export, and then restore it on the server. That is one thing. Another thing is, it's not easy to disable it. I checked a couple of days ago. Now they have it, the ability to disable it. That is, anybody could create a next-gen project, but now you can actually have the ability to disable it. So all the users, you can kind of disable, okay, I do not want any Tom, Dick, Harry to create, a new next-gen project. So of course, and then you have, currently it doesn't support subtasks as well. So subtasks are not there, so they are in the pipeline. So you can go online and you can see the roadmap of next-gen projects, and you can see what are the features in the pipeline. But this is one of the customer feedback, but of course they're going to be incorporating all the feedback, and that's how we work in Agile: inspect and adapt, and customer feedback is very, very important. So this is one of the topics I wanted to share, large-scale Agile adoption. Basically, I see a lot of questions on Atlassian community about certain Agile processes and how they fit with the Atlassian tools. There is a lot of information out there about Agile. You can go to various websites and stuff. A lot of nice white papers on websites like InfoQ. And then you have a lot of documentation of Atlassian, but there is very serious lack of documentation of how these two things actually work together. So I'm going to be discussing a use case today, which works pretty well for us at Ingenico, of how both of these come together, Atlassian tools with large-scale Agile. So how many of you know this thing, Agile Spotify model? Can I see some hands? Okay, 2%. So this is basically the company Spotify, and it is getting pretty popular. A lot of organizations have actually adopted it. Also in the Netherlands, a couple of major banks. So this is basically a way of reorganizing your teams so that they are focused towards delivery and the Devops model actually. So what this is, why it is called a Spotify model, because it came from the company which is the music streaming company Spotify. So you actually reorganize your organization in tribes and squads. You can see the tribes, you can see the squads, you can see the chapters. So what exactly are they? Squad is basically more like a scrum team, cross-functional team, which has all the capabilities focused on delivery to deliver a end-to-end feature. So whether it is the QA, you have the UX designers. So squad is basically a team which is capable of creating a minimum viable product, as to say. So that is a squad. Tribe is something which is a collection of squads, if you see here. So it's a collection of squads, that is the tribe. So that is, if you group together some similar functional areas, let's say payments, or let's say recommendation engine, or let's say if you have a music streaming app, you're grouping together all the tribes, all the squads that are actually for a certain, for mobile. So that kind of forms the tribe. And one of the things that we have noticed is what works well, if you have at the tribe lead level, you have a group that is business people plus architecture people, so that you can take the decisions actually. So then, of course, then you have something called chapter. So if everybody is working in their own silos, then you lose the purpose of an organization, because if suppose I'm a Java developer, I'm working on a certain mocking library. So if I do not share it with the other Java developers and other squads, then what's the point of being in the same organization? So you have chapters which are basically which is a technology stack. So we can have a Java chapter, you can have a QA chapter, you can have a JavaScript chapter, which meet every fortnight to share the best practices. So if I'm fixing something related to some mocking library, or I'm writing some unit tests for REST APIs, I can share it with other developers actually. Or I can share, even if the product owners are refining the backlog in a certain way, you can have a product owner chapter as well. But this is all based on this. But one of the things that we felt was missing was we have the stories, we have the epic, but what about the portfolio? How to track the large scale initiatives? By initiatives, I mean something which is, let's say, for an organization, next 6 months of work. So how to track that? So we included a new level in this. It is called portfolio, which is basically multi-tribe level for capturing, prioritizing, and estimating business initiatives. So I'm going to show the hierarchy in detail. So it's an in-house agile model that we developed, but it is something similar to what we call as a Spotify model, because it is using Spotify for reorganizing the people which are focused towards delivery, and at the same time it is using ceremonies of scaled agile framework. It is a distant cousin. Not all the ceremonies are there, but it's an in-house proprietary model, but it is something what we internally use the name as Spotify model, and works pretty well for us. So this is the whole thing in one slide actually. So this is this is at the squad level. The Scrum teams you have, they're working on the stories. Stories are basically the smallest possible, I would say, business requirements. Subtasks are basically the implementation details, setting up your database, writing unit test, and blah, blah, blah. Basically, the implementation details are in the subtask. Then you have, at the tribe level, you have epics. So if multiple tribes are working on the same epic, then, of course, generally, we prefer that each epic can have multiple stories, so multiple squads can be associated with the epic, but generally one tribe per epic. So if there are multiple tribes involved in an epic, then what we prefer is one of the tribes leads the epic, so that from a point of view of reporting, it is clear, okay, if I see this epic open, I see the tribe responsible, and I can chase the right people. Then, of course, at the portfolio level, you have the initiative. So initiative can have epics, epics can have stories, stories can have subtasks. So this is what works for us. Some of the people I've seen in the industry, they have 4 levels, but one of the problems with 4 levels is reporting gets harder and harder. The more the levels you have, the harder the reporting. And if the reporting is hard, the management will never be convinced that Agile is working, because you need to show them the right metrics. So if the metrics are not there, then why are they investing money actually? So you need to prove that it is working. For that, you need to have good reporting. And in order to have good reporting, from my experience, 3 levels are good enough. Because if you keep on adding levels, then you need to write more and more complex JQL queries actually to get the reports out of Jira. So this is something which works. Initiatives, just to put it roughly in a time-bound manner, initiative is something which is 6 months of work. Epic is something which is, let's say, a month of work. Story is something which is 2 weeks of work. That is a sprint, basically. So this is the whole model in one picture. Now, again, as I said, a lot of information about Agile out there, a lot of information about Atlassian tools, but how it kind of fits together. This is what it works well. It fits together like a glove. Here is the Agile model and requirements, and this is what we have in Jira and Confluence. You have a tribe, we associate one tribe with one Jira project. You have a squad, we associate one squad with a Scrum board, because each squad can have its own Scrum board, because Scrum boards are based on JQL filters, and in filters you can just specify the criteria. Squad is equal to, let's say, Amsterdam, squad is equal to London, squad is equal to Budapest, if the squads are named after city names. So you can have, each squad can have its own Scrum board, and when the product owner creates the story automatically goes to that particular Scrum board in the backlog, basically. So you have release roadmap, which is set of epics over time, business roadmap, set of initiatives over time, release and service increment. In SAFe, the term is program increment. We use the term service increment, basically. So which is, let's say, 4 sprints long. So service increment is, in our case, 4 sprints long. And we have a service increment ceremony, which is similar to the program increment ceremony in SAFe. So this is related to the fixed version. And recently, we are also exploring the possibilities of, instead of using fixed version, using a custom field as well. And we have some automation as well around it. I'm going to give some examples. Portfolio hierarchy. We use portfolio. You can use big picture and structure as well. We just use portfolios for the whole hierarchy view. One of the problems we face with portfolios, there are not enough dashboard gadgets. So if you have a hierarchy, you cannot show them on the dashboard, because we have pretty advanced dashboard setup. So if you are a Scrum Master, you will see what you should see. If you are a tribe lead, or if you are an initiative, we have, for all set of people, we have different set of dashboards. So the moment you log on to Jira, you see everything on the dashboard, the progress of the team. If you're a Scrum Master, if you're a tribe lead, progress across multiple squads with historical velocity. For example, one of the things missing in Jira is the historical velocity. You have the velocity chart, but that is not available as a dashboard gadget. So if you want to see the historical velocity of a squad on the dashboard, there is a gadget available, but again, the problem is it's a paid add-on. So we use data plane for reporting, and we have developed it for multiple squads. So if you're a tribe lead, you see the historical velocity of multiple squads. So, and of course, the content hierarchy. We use Confluence, as everybody, I guess, for content. Jira is not meant for content. Jira is for project tracking and project management, because I feel that managing content is much easier in Confluence, because then you can have your architecture diagrams and everything. And search also works much better in Confluence, especially if you are doing some complex text search, not around the Jira fields, but text search. Automation and governance. This is one of the things I wanted to discuss. Managing content. So governance is something which is very important because a lot of times people think, okay, we are agile, we do not need governance, but that is not the case. You need governance because if you do not have governance, you will never get reporting right. So for having good reports, you need to have good governance around, okay, who's creating what kind of issues, and one of the examples I'm going to give later on in this around fixed versions. So the moment you create a story, it automatically inherits the fixed version of the epic. So that if somebody is looking at the epic in terms of release, because fixed version is your release. So if there is a chart, okay, give me all the issues in this release. And if somebody has created a story in some other release and the product owner has forgotten to move that story to the new release, your story will never be on the dashboard. So what we have done, we have automated this. So whenever somebody creates a story, it inherits the fixed version of the epic. And if the fixed version of the epic changes, all the child stories automatically get updated so that the product owner doesn't have to manually do bulk update. So again, tracking progress via Jira macros. So we have Jira macros. So you can, within the Confluence as well, you can specify your JQL queries, track progress. You have that plugin, Table Filters, which is an excellent plugin. We use that as well to tracking some of the stuff from Stillsoft. Then consistency across workflows and boards. That is also actually very important to have consistency, because when the instance grows large, some of the teams say when we use the status in progress, we mean the release team is working on it. Or some of the teams says then when we use the status in progress, the development team is working on it. So you do not want to have one status meaning different things for different teams. So you have to have some sort of governance and consistency around it. That if I see the status in progress, it is only for the development teams. Or if it is released to UAT, it is of course then for the release team. So you want to have statuses, but you also want to have, let people use different statuses, but some sort of consistency around statuses, so that it doesn't create confusion in the reports actually. Then of course you can use combination of Scrum and Kanban. What we do, we let the product owners have their own Kanban board. They do like open, in review, ready for sprint. So that is my Kanban board as a product owner, and the moment I do ready for sprint, it automatically goes to the backlog of the Scrum board, which is the development team. So here we have clear, clearly there is a clear differentiation between the product owners Kanban boards and the Scrum board of the development team. So product owners can work the moment when they say that it is ready for sprint, the issue moves to the backlog of the Scrum team actually. So we use something like this, and then you can further extend this workflow then that when the development team says done, it moves to the Kanban board of the release team. Because in Jira, you burn the user story points when the issue moves to the rightmost status of the board. So for the Scrum team, the moment somebody says done, even if it is technically not done, but if it is done, they burn the stories, and that then goes to the Kanban board of the release team. Automation. So I gave some of the examples of automation basically. If inheriting the fixed version, that is one of the examples. Another example is we have restricted the fixed version. So the moment you create an epic, you cannot enter more than one fixed version. It is not allowed. Basically, you get a JavaScript error. So it's using the behavior plugin. We use script runner plugin extensively, and we have a lot of scripted fields as well. So if there are some story points, if you want to see the story points being rolled up to the epic and initiative level, that is also possible. We have scripted fields that add the story points. Also, there are some scripted fields basically that gives you information about the release dates, where depending on whether the issue was added after the version was started or not, basically. So this is you can do a lot with scripted fields, and we use it quite a lot. Then these are some of the app essentials. We use these apps quite a lot. We use Script Runner, Better Excel, Portfolio, Data Plane, and Tempo. Data Plane is basically for reporting. Sometimes you run into performance issues because it doesn't use a dedicated server of its own. It uses the same database, but it is fine until unless you really write a really bad JQL filter. Like if you use was operator in JQL filter, status was open. All the issues were in open ones. And so it's gonna really slow your system down. So never let users write was operator actually, just tell them. So then it is Better Excel, we use a lot of cool stuff with Better Excel actually. I have a colleague who's like the Excel champion. So what he does is he creates the Excel sheets and I write the groovy scripts in Excel sheets. So we do our resource and capacity planning in Better Excel. So you have certain JQL filters around releases. You click on export, and when you export, the data is transformed based on the Excel template, and the Excel template contains the groovy scripts. Okay, this is the service increment version. This is the epic schedule for the service increment version. So it then shows all the underlying epics, all the underlying stories, and also the sum of story points, and if people are using man days at the initiative level, some of that, and other things which the business is interested in. But this is something which requires somebody who has good insight into Excel. So I work with a colleague of mine, he does the Excel, I write the groovy scripts and the Jira APIs actually. Tempo is of course for the timesheet management. So let's see a small demo. So this is the champion space in the cloud. So Atlassian gave basically a playground for all the community champions to do whatever you want on the cloud. So this was the new thing that I wanted to show. So when you go on to create project, so try a next gen project, you can change the template. So you see the three options. You see the Scrum, you see the Kanban, and then you see the incident management. This is early access, as you can see, and this is part of Jira Ops. Basically, you have all your incident management in one place. So this is something which is pretty cool, actually. And what you can do here with this, let me just refresh. So this is one of the sample projects that was created. So you see the backlog is here. So this is based on the Scrum template. Out of 3 templates that I showed, Scrum, Kanban, and incident management, this is based on the Scrum template. So you have the backlog, and you have what I was telling you about the roadmap. This is really nice. So if you click on this, you see the child issues, you see the dates, and you can drag and drop basically. So if I close this, so you can push the dates. It's really nice. This is really lightweight as compared to portfolio. So automatically, if you now click on this, the dates would be changed. So, and then of course you can add the issues within this, add the child stories as well. So this is the new roadmap available, the roadmap feature. And if you want to see more how you can enable and disable the features that I was telling about, you can go into the settings. You can see the features, and here you can toggle the features basically. So if I close the backlog or the sprint, it will act like a Kanban board. You have the roadmap as well, you have the estimation as well, you have the reports and pages as well. Pages, basically you can integrate your Jira project with a Confluence out of the box. Of course you can do it right now as well, but now the user interface is a bit more intuitive with this. So this is the whole configuration. It is much easier than what it is on the Jira server right now on the cloud, so they have made it quite simple actually. If I now go back, this is the project that I created to test the Jira Ops. So you see I have created 2 incidents. Okay, yeah, I created a similar project. I guess this project was created by Daniel, but it doesn't matter. He's also the admin. So, I mean, you can see here how easy it is to create the status page, Ops Genie, create a channel. So if you want, the moment you create a incident, you can create a channel, get everybody involved. You can have the users, everything is configurable here. Status page you can integrate, Ops Genie you can integrate. So this is the new incident management which Jira has released. It is still in early access actually on cloud, but it will soon be available. So just to show you how easy it is, if I go back to the API development project. So on the board, if you go, some of the things that have been made pretty simple. You can add new people from here itself. So you do not have to go to the Jira admin section and users and roles and users and add all the people. So you can just type in people here, and yeah. So I can just add in people and just make them as viewers, administrators, and members. So this is very easy, but at the same time, one of the problems people have is everybody is creating their own next-gen projects, but now you have the ability to switch it off as well in the global permissions. So yes, this is it from my side actually. Thank you. I hope you liked the talk. So thanks a lot.